Arrival from the Stars. It was a quiet night on Earth. The sky was clear and the stars were shining like tiny diamonds. But then, something strange happened. A light appeared in the sky, brighter than any star. It moved fast, like a shooting star, but it didn't burn out. It was coming closer and closer. People looked up, confused. Was it a plane? A meteor? No. It was a ship. A huge black spaceship tore through the clouds. It didn't hide. It wanted to be seen. The ship stopped above a quiet field outside a small city. It floated in the air like a silent monster. The ground shook. Animals ran. Lights flickered. Then the ship opened. A tall figure stepped out slowly, wrapped in shining armor. Her body was strong. Her eyes were sharp like a hawk's. She was not human. She was an alien warrior, a soldier from the stars. Her name was Zora, and she had trained her whole life to fight in the hardest places in the galaxy. She had fought in low-gravity moons, in fire-covered planets, in ice worlds with air so thin you could barely breathe. Earth? To her, it was a joke. Kale looked around and laughed. "This planet is weak," she said. "I will conquer it in one day." But as soon as she took a step forward, something strange happened. Her legs felt heavy. Her steps were slow. Her arms didn't move easily. "What is this?" she whispered. She looked confused. Her knees started to shake. Her body felt like it was carrying a mountain. Her confidence began to slip. She tried to walk again, but her knees hit the ground with a loud thud. Dust flew up around her. She was kneeling. On her first day, on her first step, Earth's gravity wasn't a joke. It was winning. Far away, hidden cameras from the military had already picked her up. Within minutes, helicopters flew toward the crash site. Soldiers jumped out and surrounded her, but she didn't fight. She couldn't. She was trying to stand, but her muscles just wouldn't listen. The commander of the unit looked at her, confused. "Is this an invasion?" He whispered to his team. Kyle raised her head and spoke, her voice calm but proud. "I have come to challenge Earth's strongest warrior," she said. "Bring them to me. I will defeat them in battle and earn my victory." The soldiers looked at each other. They had never seen anything like this. An alien asking for a fair fight. Not weapons, no attack, just a duel. They didn't know what to do, so they sedated her and took her to a secure underground lab. Inside the lab, Kale lay on a metal table. Wires and machines surrounded her. Scientists in white coats stared at her in amazement. One of them whispered, "Her bones are denser than titanium." "But she can't even stand here." Kyle opened her eyes slowly. Her voice was soft now. "This planet is heavier than I expected." "Yeah," one scientist muttered. "Welcome to Earth." But the real question was why she came. Why did she want to fight a human? What was the purpose of this challenge? They didn't know. But soon, they would find out. Meanwhile, in a training gym across the city, a woman punched a sandbag hard, enough to rip it. Sweat rolled down her face, but her eyes stayed sharp. She was Earth's current martial arts champion, ex-special forces, no nonsense, tough as steel. Her phone buzzed. A government agent's voice came through. "We need you," he said. "An alien wants to fight the strongest human, and that might be you." She laughed. "Alien? You serious?" "We're dead serious." Back in the lab, Kale sat up slowly. She looked at her hands, then at the Earth soldiers around her. "This world is not weak," she said. "I was wrong." But her mission was not over, and someone was on the way to meet her. The real fight hadn't even started. The challenge. The alien warrior Zora sat silently inside a high-security underground facility. Heavy metal walls surrounded her. Cameras watched her every move. Bright white lights made her silver armor glow like fire. But Kale did not move. She was trying to breathe normally. Her body was still fighting Earth's gravity like a beast in chains. Every breath felt like lifting a mountain. But her face? Calm, cold, confident. She was trained not to show weakness, even when she was drowning in it. A tall human in a military uniform entered the room. He had medals on his chest and a serious look on his face. His name was General Rourke. He looked at her like she was a ticking bomb. "State your purpose," he said firmly. Kale turned her eyes toward him, sharp as blades. "I came to challenge your strongest warrior. A fair duel, one-on-one." Rourke narrowed his eyes. "Why?" She didn't blink. "It is our way." "Whose way?" he asked. She stayed silent for a long moment, then replied, "The Zarketh Empire." Rourke had heard of them, rumors only. A species known for testing other civilizations. If they saw weakness, they didn't negotiate. They took over. His voice dropped. "And if you win this fight, then your planet will surrender." "And if you lose?" Kale tilted her head. "I don't lose." But Rourke had seen her collapse like a puppet with cut strings. "I've got news for you," he said. "You're not exactly winning here." Kale's lips twitched just a little. A flicker of respect or annoyance. "Bring me your champion," she said. "Let your planet prove its strength, if it has any." Meanwhile, in the city, the ex-Special Forces fighter, Captain Raina Morgan, stood in her apartment holding the phone. "A duel?" she said. "With an alien? Is this a prank?" "No, ma'am," said the agent on the other end. "She's not kidding, and you're the best we've got." Raina looked at the photo sent to her phone. Kale kneeling in a field surrounded by soldiers, armor from another world, a face that looked like she had chewed up black holes for breakfast. Raina smirked. "Tell her I accept." Back in the lab, Kyle watched the humans move around her. Machines scanned her armor. Scientists whispered, "Is it alive? Does it react to her thoughts?" They treated her like a puzzle, a threat, a lab rat. One scientist, Dr. Riya Patel, stood closer than the others. She wasn't afraid. "I studied your language through your ship's data," Riya said. "Zarketh warriors fight to earn the right to conquer, but why Earth? Why now?" Kale looked at her carefully. "There is something about this world," she said slowly. "Something dangerous." "You mean weapons?" Kale shook her head. "No, something worse. Humans are unpredictable." The meeting hours later, the room was cleared. The metal door opened. Raina stepped in. She wore simple training gear. No armor, no weapons, just her body, and eyes that said she had seen war and won. Kyle looked up. Her eyes scanned Raina from head to toe. "You are Earth's strongest?" Kale asked, almost amused. Raina smirked. "You want a rematch with gravity first, or should we just get started?" Kale stood, shaking a little. But she stood. A moment passed between them. Not hatred, not fear. Something else. Two warriors, sizing each other up. Different galaxies, same rules. The first move, the duel began. No crowd, no cameras, just a silent, empty training room inside the military base. Kale launched forward, slow but powerful. Her movements were trained, sharp, but Earth's gravity still pulled her like a curse. Raina dodged, quick and smooth. She had studied every style of combat. She fought in deserts, mountains, oceans, but this, fighting an alien, this was new. Kale punched hard. Raina blocked it. Raina kicked fast. Kale staggered. They circled each other like two storms ready to collide. But it wasn't just, about fists. This was a war of minds. Kale was analyzing, calculating. Raina was adapting, flowing. The twist suddenly, Kale stopped. She looked at the mirrors on the wall. "They're watching us," she whispered. "What?" Raina asked. Kale pointed up. "Not your people, mine." Raina turned. On the wall, a small red dot glowed. "They're here," Kale said. "My superiors. Watching the duel." "Is this still a fight? Or is it an audition?" Reyna asked. Kale looked down. For the first time, she seemed unsure. They wanted to test this planet's strength. Through me. If I win, they come. If I lose, they choose another world. You're just a scout, Reyna said. A gladiator in their game. Kale didn't deny it. Reyna stepped forward. Then lose. Kale stared at her. What? Lose. On purpose. Prove Earth is not weak. Save us. Kale's fists clenched. I was bred to win. Losing means death. Reyna's voice dropped. Or it means freedom. Kyle turned away, facing the red dot on the wall. She knew they were watching. Judging. This was no longer just a duel. It was a trap. With 2 lives hanging in the balance. One of them would fall. But maybe, just maybe, that fall could save the world. Training days and broken pride. The duel was over, but no one declared a winner. Kale Zora sat on the cold floor of her cell, her back straight, her face still. Outside her windowless room, Earth's military officials whispered nervously. They didn't know whether to treat her as a guest, a prisoner, or a warning, and she didn't care. Her body was sore. Her muscles screamed. Her pride was bruised beyond repair. Back on her homeworld, she was a legend, a warrior bred for war, born in zero gravity, trained in fire rings, honed in death duels. Now she couldn't even lift a chair on Earth without shaking. Earth was supposed to be weak, but it was winning. Silently. Inside the lab, Reyna watched the recordings of their fight in slow motion. She wasn't just reviewing her moves, she was studying Kyle, her speed, her timing, her choices. Something felt off. This wasn't her best, Reyna said. A voice behind her spoke. Maybe that was her best on this planet. It was Dr. Riya Patel, the lead xenobiologist on the case. She held a data tablet and looked exhausted. We analyzed her biology, she said. Her species evolved in lower gravity. Her bones are dense like metal, her muscles store kinetic energy like springs, but here, all that strength is working against her. So she's Superman back home, Reyna muttered. And a sinking ship here. Riya nodded. She's not weak, just not adapted. But she came to fight Earth's strongest knowing this? Reyna asked. Why? Riya hesitated. Maybe she didn't know. Maybe she was lied to. Flashback. Before Earth, Kale remembered the day she was chosen. A grand hall of glowing banners, generals with polished armor. A council of faceless voices behind glass screens. You will travel to the blue world, they said. It is soft. It is simple. Show them the meaning of strength. They didn't mention gravity. They didn't mention Reyna. They didn't say that this planet would fight back with honor. The offer days passed. Reyna visited Kyle again. This time, not as a fighter, but as a mentor. You're not going home anytime soon, Reyna said, tossing a towel to Kale. So you better learn how to live here. Kale caught the towel awkwardly. Her fingers still trembled when she moved fast. I do not need your pity, she said coldly. This isn't pity, Reyna said. It's training. You want a rematch? Earn it. Montage time, but emotional. At first, Kale refused. She sat in silence, stared at walls, ignored instructions, but Earth had a way of wearing people down, not through war, but through patience. Each day, Reyna returned. She showed her how to shift her weight, how to fight with gravity, not against it, how to breathe deeper, move smaller, hit smarter. Kale fell, a lot. She broke a few machines, shouted at herself in her alien language, punched a wall so hard it cracked, and then fell to her knees again. But then, she began to rise. Bonding training turned into conversation. Silence turned into questions. Kale learned about Earth, its wars, its peace, its chaos, its art. Reyna learned about Zarketh, its warrior code, its lonely victories, its cold glory. On my planet, we don't build homes, we build empires, Kale said one night. We do not ask why we fight, we only ask who bleeds first. Reyna handed her a water bottle. Maybe that's why your empire has no friends. For the first time, Kyle laughed. Just a small, surprised laugh. It sounded like rocks breaking. But it was real. The interference. But peace never lasts. One night, the lights in the facility flickered, computers glitched. Kyle stood suddenly alert. They're contacting me, she whispered. Who? Reyna asked. Kyle didn't answer. Her eyes were wide with fear. Not for herself, but for Earth. In the control room, a screen lit up with a strange symbol. An alien message scrolled across in red. War begins in 72 hours. Zarketh fleet en route. The confrontation general. Rourke stormed in. What the hell is this, Kyle? Kyle stood calmly. I failed my mission. My people are coming to finish it. You were never meant to win, Reyna said quietly. You were just the spark. Kyle looked at her, something heavy in her eyes. I was a test, a distraction, while they prepared for the real strike. The room went silent. Then Rourke spoke. We should lock her up. But Reyna stepped between them. No, we train her harder. Everyone stared at her like she'd gone mad. She's our only inside advantage, Reyna said. She knows their moves, their code, their weaknesses. She's also one of them, Rourke snapped. Reyna didn't blink. Not anymore. Kyle looked down. She didn't agree. Not yet. Not fully. But the seed of doubt had grown. Zarketh lied to her. Used her. Now, Earth was the only place that treated her like a person. That night, Kale stood on the rooftop of the facility, staring up at the stars. Somewhere out there, her people were coming, not with questions, not with challenges, with fire. Reyna stepped beside her. Are you ready? She asked. Kale didn't answer, but her fists clenched. Her stance straightened, not in pride, but in purpose. She whispered, Then let them come. Lies among the stars. Night had fallen over the base, but no one was sleeping. The stars above Earth looked peaceful, unaware that an invasion fleet was coming straight through them like angry gods with engines. In the control room, the countdown glowed on the screen. 60 hours until Zarketh fleet arrival. The silence was the loudest thing in the room. In the war room, General Rourke, Reyna, Dr. Rhea Patel, and Kale stood around a holographic projection of the solar system. A red storm of ships was headed toward Earth. Hundreds, maybe thousands. They'll block satellites first, Kale explained. Then cripple your skies, then descend and claim. Claim what? Reyna asked. We don't have anything they need. Kale looked at her. You have you. Rhea frowned. Explain. Kale stepped closer to the table. Your species. You are different, resistant, emotional, unpredictable. And your planet, it changes people. Even me. She looked down at her own hands. Zarketh doesn't want your weapons. They want your spirit, your adaptability, your chaos. Rourke crossed his arms. So we're not just ants to crush. We're lab rats. Kyle nodded. Exactly. The unsealed message later. That night, Rhea unlocked a secure file from Kyle's crashed ship. It was a recorded message from her commanding officer. Projected in the dark lab, the alien figure's voice was sharp and cold. Once the scout is weakened by gravity, Earth will lower its guard. Send false challenge. Make them admire her. Let them feel safe, then we strike. The room froze. Reyna whispered, They used you. Kale's face hardened. I know. The breakdown. Kale stormed into the training room, her mind boiling. She had fought her whole life to become a perfect warrior. She bled for honor, for duty, for Zarketh. But she was just a tool to test Earth's defenses. Her fists slammed into a concrete pillar, cracking it, again, and again, and again. Reyna entered quietly. Anger won't save Earth. I don't want to save Earth, Kale shouted. Silence. Then she added softer. I don't even know what I want anymore. Reyna didn't reply. She just walked to the center of the room and took a fighting stance. You want purpose? Then fight for it. The real training begins. This time it wasn't just drills. It was war preparation. Kyle and Reyna trained side by side. Kale learned to trust her body on Earth, to fight smart, not just strong, to listen, to lead, to let go. And Reyna? She studied alien tactics, Zarketh formations, weaknesses in their armor. Together they built a new kind of strength, one born from pain and partnership, the discovery. Meanwhile, Rhea uncovered something terrifying in the data. The Zarketh fleet wasn't just coming for Earth. It was headed for 3 other planets, each with rising civilizations. Earth was the first domino. They're not invaders, Rhea whispered. They're exterminators. Rourke's face turned pale. If we fall, others fall next. Kyle stepped forward. Then we can't fall. Kyle's decision. That night, Kyle sat alone under the stars. She stared at the sky like she was trying to burn a hole in it with her eyes. She knew the fleet would land in less than 3 days. She knew they'd kill her first for failing her mission. But something had changed. Earth had changed her. Not by force, not by control, but by giving. Her choice. She whispered to the wind. I won't be their weapon anymore. The plan at dawn, Kyle marched into the war room. I'm going back into space, she said. Reyna raised an eyebrow. To do what? To lie, Kyle replied. She explained her plan. Use her ship's signal to connect with the Zarketh fleet early. Pretend the mission was complete. Earth conquered. No need to send the fleet. Fake success. Delay war. Rourke didn't like it. What if they don't believe you? They won't, Kyle admitted. But it will buy time. Reyna stepped forward. I'll go with you. Kyle shook her head. This mission is death. Reyna smirked. So was meeting you. The launch using parts from her ship and Earth's tech. They rebuilt a small craft capable of reaching low orbit. It was a risky plan. Too many things could go wrong. But they had no choice. As the countdown hit 36 hours, the ship launched. Rhea watched from the control room. God help them, she whispered. Rourke didn't. Blink. No gods here, just guts. In orbit, Kale and Reyna floated in silence. Earth a blue giant beneath them. The stars felt colder now. Sharper. Kale opened a channel. This is Scout Kale Zora. Mission successful. Planet Earth subdued. No resistance. A long pause. Then, a reply crackled through. You are lying, Kale. We see you. We are already here. Kale looked at Reyna. They didn't buy it. Then the sensors lit up. The fleet had arrived. Just outside the moon's orbit. Too big. Too fast. Reyna grabbed Kale's arm. We've got to get back. But then, the ship rocked violently. Something hit them. Systems down. Oxygen low. They were falling. Back on Earth, the base picked up a signal. 2 life forms descending. Emergency landing. The fleet had seen the lie. Earth was exposed. But so were the aliens' intentions. The final battle wasn't a possibility anymore. It was inevitable. And somewhere in the burning sky above, 2 warriors were falling. Not enemies, not strangers, but sisters in war. The invasion begins. The Earth sky looked calm, blue, quiet, but in space, war had arrived. Above the planet, the Zarketh fleet loomed like a sea of metal shadows, massive ships shaped like razors, silent and terrible. They blocked out the sun. They didn't send a message. They didn't warn. They were done playing. The Falkyle and Reyna's escape pod tumbled through the atmosphere like a comet on fire. Inside, red lights blinked. The air smelled like burning circuits. Reyna shouted over the noise, "Can we slow down?" Kyle, gripping the controls, growled, I'm trying not to kill us, not land us softly. Reyna kicked the side of the pod. Great! I love nearly dying before breakfast. Kyle smirked, even as sweat poured down her brow. You humans really are insane. The pod slammed into a forest outside the military base, carving a trench through the trees before crashing to a smoky, screeching halt. Silence. Then, Reyna coughed. Still alive? Kale groaned. Unfortunately. Back to Earth. They limped from the wreckage, bruised but breathing. Kale's armor was cracked. Reyna's shoulder was bleeding, but they moved. Fast. Together. Back at the base, alarms were already screaming. Screens flashed red. Zarketh troops detected. Global entry points confirmed. Dozens of drop pods had fallen from orbit like black thunder. New York, Tokyo, Cairo, Moscow, Johannesburg, Rio, and near them, the base itself. Panic. And Protocol General Rourke barked orders. Troops scrambled, tanks rolled out. Drones launched. Dr. Rhea Patel secured all alien tech and downloaded what she could into a hard drive the size of her palm. Her fingers trembled, but her mind was sharp. She turned to the others. They didn't come to talk. This is extinction. Protocol. The first contact, this time it's war. Outside from a glowing crater, rose the first Zarketh ground unit. It stood 10 feet tall. No eyes, no mouth. Armor like obsidian glass. Its limbs morphed, sword, blade, cannon, all shifting like liquid death. Behind it, more rose. Dozens, then hundreds. Earth's forces opened fire. Bullets barely scratched them. Kyle arrived just in time to see a tank sliced clean in half by a single swing from a Zarketh blade arm. She pulled Reyna back behind cover. You're not ready for these. Reyna wiped blood from her mouth. Neither are you. Kale looked at the monsters in the distance. That's why we fight dirty. Human tactics, alien problem. Unlike Zarketh, Earth fought with improvisation, while alien troops moved in. Rigid, perfect formations. Humans used chaos, ambushes, traps, explosives tied to shopping carts, drones that swarmed and hacked enemy suits. Kale watched, impressed. You fight like fire. Reyna grinned, reloading. You expected cold logic? I expected surrender. Well, surprise. A turn in the tide, Kyle led a counter-ambush. Using her knowledge of Zarketh tactics, she guided Earth troops to flank their enemies. Explosives in the trees, EM pulses that fried their organic circuits, smoke bombs to blind them, followed by human troops with baseball bats and homemade rocket launchers. One alien commander fell, then another. It wasn't a win, but it was a punch in the mouth. And Zarketh didn't like bleeding. Kale's betrayal, a voice crackled in Kale's ear. Her old commander. You fight beside them, Kale. You shame your blood. Return. Or be erased. Kale's face darkened. She tapped into the comm and spoke in her native tongue. This planet taught me something you never could. Compassion? Strength. Then she crushed the communicator beneath her boot. No turning back. Meanwhile, across the world, cities burned. Skyscrapers crumbled. Satellites fell. But everywhere the Zarketh landed, resistance followed. In Mumbai, street gangs fought beside police. In Brazil, favela kids used hacked alien tech to create traps that sent invaders flying. In Kenya, farmers, with drones, protected their villages. This wasn't just Earth fighting, it was humanity uniting. The secret weapon doctor. Rhea found something deep in the data Kale had stolen. A weak spot. A neural node inside each Zarketh soldier. A part of their biology that allowed them to sync like a hive mind. Destroy the node, and they disconnect. Fight alone. Panic. But there was a catch. The central node was on the mothership, floating just outside Earth's reach. The mission Kyle, Reyna, and a small team had one shot. Sneak onto the mothership, destroy the node, and cut the Zarketh troops off from their hive. Control. If they failed, Earth falls. If they succeed, The invasion stumbles, and humanity gets a chance. The stealth launch at dusk inside an underground hangar. The team boarded a custom stealth ship, a Frankenstein mix of Earth and alien tech. Kale checked her gear, Reyna strapped in beside. Ever crash into a mothership before? Kale gave a small smile. Not yet. Rhea handed Reyna the data chip. This will guide you, but once you're inside, you're on your own. General Rourke saluted them both. Make it count. The ship rose into the sky, cities still burned. The world held its breath. Inside the mothership, alarms lit up. The fleet knew something was coming. Kale and Reyna sat side by side, staring out at the stars. Reyna whispered, "You ever wonder why you ended up here?" Kale replied, "No," then paused and said softer, "But I'm glad I did." The stars grew closer. The enemy loomed ahead, human at heart. The stealth ship cut through the atmosphere like a shadow on fire. Kale sat in the cockpit watching the stars slide past. Her fists were clenched, her jaw locked. Beside her, Reyna checked the mission plan one last time. The file from Dr. Raya outlined their target, central neural node, the brain of the hive. Take it out, and the ground troops would become blind. Disconnected and confused. A tactical knockout punch, simple on paper, impossible in reality. The arrival, the Zarketh mothership, was massive, bigger than 10 cities stacked together. It hovered just beyond the moon, shaped like a dark flower of steel and storm clouds. As their ship approached, the stealth field flickered. Reyna looked at Kale. "We sure this works?" Kale didn't answer. She was staring ahead, frozen. Her people were inside that monster. Her past, her failure, her home, and now she had to destroy it. Entry point. They landed in a hidden docking shaft, shielded by debris. The moment they stepped inside the ship, Kale's legs felt strange, less gravity. Her old strength returned, muscles uncoiled like waking dragons. "I feel like a god again," she whispered. Reyna smirked, "Then act like one." They moved fast, silent, using the map from the stolen data. The halls were alive with low hums and violet light. Walls pulsed. Almost like veins, this ship wasn't built, it was grown. Kale whispered, "This is not technology, it's a creature." They weren't walking inside a ship. They were walking through a living mind. The heart of the hive. They reached the central chamber, a vast dome with a glowing, pulsating structure in the center, the neural node. It looked like a brain wrapped in crystal and metal, suspended in air, held by biocables like alien arteries. Below it, dozens of Zarketh soldiers stood in perfect silence, not moving, not speaking, just watching the node, guarding it. Kale froze. They're linked to it. If we attack, they all activate. Reyna pulled out the EMP disruptor. Then we better make the first move count. Kale grabbed her wrist. "No, there's another way." The confrontation. Kale stepped forward, slow and calm. The soldiers raised their weapons but didn't fire. She spoke in the ancient Zarketh command tongue. "I am Kale Zora, battleborn, gravity fallen. I have seen the edge of the galaxy. I have bled for the code. And I say now..." She paused, her voice cracking slightly. "We were wrong." The soldiers didn't move. Reyna watched from the shadows, heart pounding. This planet we seek to conquer, it is not weak. It is not chaotic. It is alive, messy, beautiful, strong. Kale raised her voice. "And I choose it." Suddenly, a new voice echoed from above. "Then you are no longer one of us." The Overlord from the shadows descended, the Zarketh Overlord. Kale's former mentor, now twisted with enhancements and crowned in black armor that moved like oil. His voice was deep, ancient. "You were my finest weapon, my sharpest edge, and you let gravity tame you." Kyle didn't flinch. "No. It freed me." The Overlord drew a blade that shimmered with antimatter. then you will die in the old way, like a traitor. The battle in the mind. The chamber exploded into motion. Zarketh soldiers surged forward. Kyle leapt into battle, her strength returned in full. Her strikes were faster, harder, smarter. But there were too many. Reyna launched the EMP. 3 soldiers collapsed, others staggered. Kale fought her way to the neural node, deflecting attacks, moving like fire through fog. The Overlord blocked her path. You have heart, Kale. But heart burns, and ashes are useless. Kale narrowed her eyes. Then let's turn yours to dust. Their blades clashed with shockwaves that cracked the walls. The choice as the battle raged, Reyna reached the node. She planted the device, ready to overload it, but a message flashed on the panel. Node connected to all Zarketh soldiers. Overload will cause total collapse of the species' hive mind. Not just control, identity. Rhea had been wrong. Destroying the node wouldn't just stop the invasion. It would wipe out every Zarketh warrior's sense of self, not kill them, but erase who they were. Reyna looked at Kale, still fighting. If they did this, Kale would lose her entire race, her history, her people. Was this a win or genocide? Human at heart, Kale finally struck the Overlord down. He fell, gasping. You are no longer one of us. Kale leaned in. No, I'm something better. She turned to Reyna, who stood frozen at the node. Kale's voice was steady now. Do it. Reyna hesitated. It'll erase everything. Kyle stepped forward. Then maybe they can start again. With choice, like I did. Reyna pressed the trigger. The disconnect, a blinding pulse exploded through the mothership. Zarketh soldiers all over Earth dropped their weapons, stumbled, looked around like newborns. Some screamed, some knelt. Some just sat, confused, disconnected. The hive was broken. Earth was saved, but Zarketh was free. The aftermath back on Earth, the battle stopped. In New York, Zarketh warriors looked up at the sky and wept, if that's what their kind could do. In Rio, a group of kids offered one alien a soccer ball. It blinked and kicked it back. All over the world, silence returned, not from death, but from peace. Kyle's farewell. Kyle stood on a mountain, watching the sunset. She no longer wore armor, just earth clothes. Simple, free. Reyna stood beside her. So? Reyna asked. Now what? Kyle smiled gently. I don't know. For once, I like not knowing. She looked at the sky, now full of stars that didn't feel like enemies anymore. I was born to conquer, she said. Reyna nodded. And now? Kale exhaled. I think I'll learn to live. Gravity wins. The war was over, but Earth did not celebrate, not with fireworks, not with parades. It was too quiet for that, too heavy. Cities still smoked. Buildings still leaned sideways. The world was breathing slowly again, but everyone knew it could have been their last breath. People looked at the sky with fear and wonder, whispering, are they really gone? And those who knew the truth, they whispered a different question. What happens now when your enemy becomes your guest? Aftershock. The global ceasefire held. The Zarketh soldiers, now cut off from the hive, were confused, disoriented, and no longer aggressive. Some fled into the wild. Some tried to communicate. Others simply sat still, staring at the sky as if waiting for orders that would never come. Humanity was torn. Some called for total extermination. Others said, they're not soldiers anymore. They're victims. The internet, of course, exploded into debates, conspiracy theories, hashtags like Go Alien Lives Matter and Tajan Hive Free World, and the occasional meme of Kale photoshopped into a Marvel poster because humans process trauma in weird ways. Kale the survivor. Kale lived in a quiet cabin outside a mountain town. Far from screens, crowds, or anything metallic, her armor was sealed away in a steel box under the floor. She didn't wear it anymore. Not because she couldn't. Because she didn't want to. She chopped wood. She drank tea. She watched birds. Sometimes Earth still felt too heavy. But now that weight was something she had learned to carry, not fight. The letter one morning, a drone landed outside her cabin. A small package. No message. Inside was a tablet with a video from Raina. Raina looked tired, but alive. We've started a program. Integration, not peacekeeping, real rebuilding. Some Zarketh want to help. Others don't know who they are yet. They listen to me, but they'll follow you. We need you, Kale. Kale paused the message. She stood in the doorway of her cabin, looking at the sunrise. Her hands flexed slowly. Not from pain, but from choice. Return to the base. When Kale walked back into the military base, every head turned. She was taller than anyone in the room. Stronger, sharper, still alien. But no one raised a weapon. Not this time. She walked straight to Raina, who was standing near a new group of recruits, human and Zarketh both, wearing matching uniforms. They weren't soldiers, they were protectors, peacekeepers of a world trying to heal. Kale nodded. What do you need? Raina smiled. A teacher. The trial, meanwhile, in Geneva, something unexpected happened. A global tribunal opened the case against Zarketh's ruling class. Using recovered data, testimony, and Kale's recordings, Earth's United Nations accused the Empire of war crimes, not just against humanity, but against their own species. It was the first time in universal history that an alien government was tried in a human court. Kyle was asked to testify. The courtroom was silent as she stood. She spoke not of revenge, not of conquest, but of shame and of hope. My people taught me that strength meant crushing the weak, but Earth taught me something stronger. You fall, you rise, you forgive, you remember. I came here to break your spirit, but Huesty gave me mine. Zarketh's new dawn back on the Zarketh homeworld. The hive was no more. Individuals now woke with memories, voices, questions. They were confused, scared, but free. Kale's broadcast reached them too. Her message spread, not as a command, but as an invitation. You are not weapons anymore, you are people. And for the first time, the planet did not echo in war chants. It echoed in silence, a silence that could one day become peace. The final test weeks later, Kale was invited to speak at the new Earth-Zarketh Unity Assembly, a gathering of leaders, survivors, and former enemies trying to imagine a shared future. She stood on a stage before thousands, and millions more watching from around the world. And there, before she spoke, something strange happened. She stepped forward, and her knees buckled. Just slightly. Not from weakness. Not from pain, but from gravity. Earth's gravity. Still a weight. Still real. Still reminding her that she would never be who she was again. Knelt, not in defeat, in respect, to the planet that changed her, to the people who taught her humanity, and to the truth she had denied for so long. Strength is not how hard you hit, she said softly, but how deeply you feel and still choose to stand. Epilogue. Years later, a small school in the mountains now trains Zarketh and human children together in language, philosophy, and self-defense. There is a statue in the courtyard, a tall armored warrior kneeling, her helmet off, looking up at the sky. Underneath it is written, "She came to conquer. She chose to care." Kale Zora, the first to fall inside the Tiur classroom, a young alien child asks their teacher, "Why did she fall when she arrived?" The teacher smiles. "She didn't fall," they say. "She landed." So in the end, yes, gravity won, but not because it pulled Kale to the ground, because it pulled her toward humanity. toward something stronger than conquest, something heavier than war, something simple, something true. Heart.